Hello everyone, this is Red from Red's Third Dimension Gaming, and today I'm bringing you a review on Bladestorm Nightmare. And in this game it includes the first Bladestorm game, the 100 Years War, and a new story mode called Nightmare. I thought this game looked okay, but after looking at the old version of the game, it looks amazing. The game's graphics were slightly revamped, which do look a lot better, but overall I think they should have upgraded to the Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors engines. They have the technology and I think they could have done a better job at that, but as a whole it looks a lot better and there's a lot more content in the game. One instance where I did find the graphics to look really good is when you stand completely still and you look around with your right analog stick camera. Even the grass, the trees, rocks, everything doesn't look that bad, but when you're actually moving through the battlefield, everything starts to get blurry and it doesn't look as clear. The best looking part of this game are the characters. When you see your pre-made character and other characters, they look a lot better than the rest of the game, and cutscenes don't look that bad, but like I said, I think they could have revamped the graphics even more, because you have the technology on PS4 with the Warriors engine, and I just think it could have looked better overall. So the graphics are okay. Don't expect it to be the best looking game of your life. Next, I'm going to go over the story modes of the game. For the 100 Years War story, this is based on actual events, just like Dynasty Warriors was based on Chinese history, and Samurai Warriors was based on Japanese samurais and history. This one's based on the actual 100 Years War. That's what it was called when I was looking up some history about it. And the bitter war was fought between England and France. Now in this scenario, you are playing as a mercenary for hire. So you're going to be fighting for both the English or the French. And I tried just fighting for the English. Like, I got really far doing that, but it seems like the game doesn't progress at all after a while. So I started playing for the French, and it kept progressing fantastically. I didn't want to play for the French for certain reasons, and I don't want to say them. I actually enjoyed the story a lot. You get to learn a little bit more about actual history, and in this story mode at the tavern, which is where you go after you battle, when you gossip with people, they'll tell you about different battles that are going on, better ways to fight, reminders of better ways to fight, because sometimes they'll remind you several times that R1 is a good way to use normal attacks against enemies, and is very effective. That's pretty much what they say. A little different, but yeah, that's the gist of it. So the menus that you have available when you're in the tavern are contracts, which you can take up whatever contracts you want for the French, the English, either one. You can even choose whichever one pays more. They'll have little exclamation points next to the most important battles, and these ones also include cutscenes in them. There's the status where you can go and customize your squad however you want. And with different books, you can customize what type of weapons that you will carry or go for. The main one I went for was swords, because I believe swords are the greatest thing. Then I went to horses, and there are a bunch of different weapon choices that you can choose. And once you go into a certain class, for instance swords, you can upgrade the skills. You can eventually get more soldiers, better attacks, and you can even upgrade your attacks so that you are an amazing fighter. One really awesome feature about this game is that between both story modes, when you level up in one story mode, you level up in the other story mode. When you gain money in the one story mode, you gain money in the other story mode. So it all goes back to your character. Whatever character you're using, their stats grow no matter what, which is really cool. You have the merchant where you can buy and sell items, obviously, and you can also buy books. Usually you'll find books in the battlefield. You can recruit extra members just in case, say I have 30 people with me at a time. A bunch of them die, and I'm down to like one extra person. You can spawn enemies in the battlefield, and then you won't have to worry about fighting alone. There is gossip, which I explained earlier. The diary, which is information about the story, different people, about squads, places, and your progress overall. And last but not least, there's a system where you can save, change your settings. For the 100 Years War, there's no difficulty level to change up and down. On Nightmare, there is easy, normal, and hard. I would suggest going on hard if you already played the 100 Years War, because you already know what you want in your character, and they should be fully upgraded if you beat the game. My character was 50 something because I just changed over to Nightmare just to see how it improved and what was different in it. One last item I want to talk about is the two main characters in the 100 Years War are Edward the Black Prince, which is the Prince of England, and Joan of Arc, which if you have ever seen the Mila Jovovich movie of Joan of Arc, watch it. It is amazing, and I believe it is for the most part accurate, but she plays a great role in that movie, and it makes you really love Joan of Arc. You don't even have to read up about her, just watch the movie. It is really good. And she's the other main character. She's from France. Now for Nightmare's story, I will let this guy explain exactly what the story's about.
The 14th century. The interminable cycle of fighting that raged between England and France was broken by the sudden appearance of hordes of monstrous demons. These monsters rampaged throughout the land, destroying and killing all in their path. Faced with this overwhelming threat, England and France call a truce to their battle. Though they work together to face this evil, even their combined might cannot stem the tide. With the situation already grim, they are struck another blow by rumors of the darkest sort. They say the Maid of Orleans, Joan of Arc, leads the monstrous hordes. Uncertain and unbelieving, the combined force marches to Gascony to fight. There they discover two mercenaries who claim to be chasing Joan. And in the hand of one is gripped a strangely mysterious sword.
Where'd all these monsters come from? Where is Joan of Arc? In the game, she is the one that is taking control of these monsters by using this awesome sword, which you will learn more about as you play through the story. I believe there are 8 chapters in the game. I haven't gotten to the very last one yet, but I will continue uploading as I finish the story, and it has been getting better every inch that I've been playing through of it. If you want to know more about the story, either watch my walkthrough on the game, or you can go ahead and buy the game yourself. You're getting 2 story modes. So I'm guessing you want to know about the gameplay. The gameplay in this game is fantastic. I at first didn't understand it at all. Coming from Dynasty Warriors, 8 Empires, and Samurai Warriors, it's kind of a little different from those games. You are not by yourself, and if you attempt to try to be by yourself, you're gonna die. You work as a leader amongst your squad. You run this squad, everyone attacks at once. You can control them to just stay back and follow you. Everyone comes in at once, or you can go and charge ahead and you can attack. In this game, they added pennons, which is a new feature. All of the pennons right here, I will list them off. Quick March, this raises your squad's mobility. Anger, this is a really awesome pennon, because if you're going against a tough boss / guardian of a certain area, it increases the attack strength of your squad. Defend, that increases your defense. Evasion, this increases your ability to evade enemy attacks. Invincibility, which is a really awesome feature, it renders the enemy attacks ineffective for one time only. Heavy Boots, this lowers enemy squad mobility. Impair, This lowers attack strength of an enemy squad. Wear lowers defense strength of enemy squads. Temptation, this confuses a squad into attacking its own allies. And finally, Revival, this resurrects fallen troops of your squad. Another new feature they have added. In some of the bases, they'll have guardians, which this might be just a really big guy. Which also in customization mode, which I haven't talked about yet, you can make your character 8 or 9 foot tall. I believe it's 200 something centimeters or something. I'm not sure how that equals the feet, but I remember I had it at like 6 foot, and that wasn't even the tallest you could go. I went from centimeters to feet on Google, and it came out to be something like 5 foot is what I made my character, because I didn't want her to be a giant. She looked kind of funny as a giant. But you can make your characters as big as you want. You can make them small head, big body. You can make them a little person. You make a little head, big arm, little head giant. Make them look like a troll maybe. It depends on what you want as a character. There are a lot of options, but I will get into that real soon. So Guardians are a little bit harder to defeat unless you have a really high ranked squad and character. Guardians will have a break gauge, which you have to get past that break gauge in order to just attack like normal. Because once you get through that gauge, they're really easy. It's not hard, especially if you're leveling up and you played on Bladestorm the 100 Years War and you're on Nightmare. It's really easy on Nightmare after you played it on that game because your characters are already leveled up so high. Yeah, it's so easy. And switching between characters, you can have up to 4 squads eventually. You don't get 4 squads right away unless you've already unlocked them on the other game mode. But you can instantly switch back and forth, and on the map you can choose where they're going to go and attack. If you have weak squad leaders, you might not be able to because your squad leader might suck and they might die. But that's okay as long as you don't die with all of them, you're good to go. I never personally died by myself. I had a squad member die that I wasn't controlling, so don't quote me if you die as that person if you lose. I don't know. I'm assuming you would just move on to your next squad person. You'd have to see for yourself. I'm not attempting to do that because I always use my main character I create. And again, they call it zapping. That's a new feature they didn't have before. Another new feature is called Army. So this is when players can put all their squads together to create one gigantic army. And it makes an incredible attack against all the enemy forces. You can bring up to 4 squads, 200 troops together, and that leads to a big attack if you choose to do so. And finally, what they have based the battles on are bases. Sorry if I repeated that, but that's what it's based on. You have to capture a certain base, or you have to defend a certain base. But as long as you don't die and you meet the goal within so many days on the 100 Years War story, or if you capture the certain point on Nightmare without dying, then you're okay. They got rid of the timer and the so many days on Nightmare, so you don't have to finish the game in so many minutes, like 5 minutes. Usually it's around 8, 10, I believe, but it might be higher than that. It depends on the battle that you're in. Around 8 to 10 minutes average. They shouldn't take long. Nightmare is a nightmare. I took around 40 minutes to an hour per chapter, but then again, there's only about 8 chapters, so that's about an 8-hour game, but add in this other game that you have. This game lasts a lot longer than 8 hours, depending on how you play it. I played it a lot longer than 8 hours on the 100 Years War. And then the other game is a little bit less than that. But it does look better. It's a fresh new story. And the monsters bring a new twist to history. These monsters weren't actually dragons back then. And if there were, I'd be scared out of my mind. So for customization, I already went over most of the customization. You can customize your face, There's about 12 different faces you can choose from. You can customize your nose, your mouth, your lips. They have all that, but it is not as deep as Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires, which I believe is the best customization system that Koei Tecmo has had in a long time. That deserves the highest praise because that game has amazing customization. And then the customization in this game is not as good as that game. The graphics are not as good as that game. The gameplay is different, which I actually like. So that's a plus. But there's a lot of different customization. There are over 100 different hairstyles, which is nice because you can kind of make them look like Dead or Alive characters. I have an obsession with Dead or Alive / Ninja Gaiden characters. And it's nothing weird. I don't know why. I have weird comments on my PSN because I have Kasumi as my PSN profile pic. But yeah, that, and I was talking about how I customize my characters like that. And people thought I was weird. But that's their opinion. It doesn't affect me. So overall, the game's graphics could have been improved immensely. I like the job that they did with the game compared to the original, but I think the new game at least would have been like Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires, which looked amazing. They could have ran it on that engine. They already had to redo the game somewhat. You think they could have added a major upgrade instead of a minor upgrade. I like the story mode. The story modes in both games are interesting and show you a little bit about the history of a certain era. The characters are interesting. Joan of Arc, one of the best historical females in history. Oh, I love her. And then they bring in the demons and dragons and griffins. There's mystical creatures in Nightmare's story where you have to work together to fight these monsters. The gameplay is different and unique compared to normal Koei Tecmo games. Usually they're just hack and slash, single person by themselves, but this is a little different. You're controlling a squad of people to attack and hack and slash. They have a large variety too. They have swords, and just in swords they have swords and shield, two-handed swords, so you have a sword in each hand and you're fighting. They have a large variety of weapons in this game, and a large variety of different gameplay tactics that you can choose to complete. There are also trophies added that you get for playing the game on the 100 Years story and Nightmare story, which I'm a little confused why the 100 Years War has so many gold trophies compared to the Nightmare trophies, but that's okay. I like the 100 Years story. With all that being said and done, the customization could have been improved even more. They could have added so many more features from Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires customization, which was so great, and applied it to this game. I do like having the 100 plus hairstyles in the game though. That really helps because you don't get stuck with the same looking ugly ones. Another plus is that your character will constantly be leveling up no matter what mode you're in, either Nightmare or the 100 Years War. Overall, I give this game an 8 out of 10. It's a solid game. The game is really fun and it has amazing features, but they could have improved upon it more. If you liked the review, don't forget the thumbs up, comment below, and subscribe. If you'd like to buy the game, it's out on PS4, Xbox One, and digital only on PS3 for $49.99 on PS3. The PS4 and Xbox One versions are $59.99, and it's going to be available on March 17th, 2015. If you'd like to buy the game, don't forget to use the Amazon link below. Thank you guys for watching. See ya.